2013. And I hope that all of you had really very nice, enjoyable summer and the month of Ramadan and Eid. We hope that we'll make it this year, inshallah, more enjoyable and more interactive. I think it will be helpful to see where we were like over the last few years and where we like to go in this year and hopefully for the following years. As you remember, the discussion over the last 2 to 3 years have been focusing on the early messages of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam through Quran. And in order really to answer that particular question, we looked at the chapters, the surahs that have been revealed very early during the life of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the reason we wanted to see what were really the ideas on which Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam built this new message. We found that in order really to answer that question in a meaningful way is not to see these surahs the way they are ordered in Quran as we read it today, or at the time when the revelation was completed, but we like to see in what order these early chapters were revealed. That would really help us to answer that particular question. And we saw that how the social ills that fared the society in Mecca were addressed. Okay, and from the beginning of the revelation, we were able to see that Quran is trying like to address a new human being, who is really autonomous, not a helpless human being, a human being who is capable of creating. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Okay, so, but although the human being is endowed with the ability to read, the ability to learn, the ability to create, but has to be very vigilant also about this autonomy may go to the other extreme, or to the extreme, okay, and ends in what Quran refers to as self-sufficiency. And it is amazing that even in the academic departments today and in the big conferences, the last one I attended, there was really a slide on which the speaker, okay, who is really the president of very big body, the ACGME, the accreditation really body for all the training programs in the whole nation, and he put that statement: autonomy is not equivalent to self-sufficiency. Because he knows that the human being has this tendency, if he or she feels that I am autonomous, this means that I don't need anybody. No, he is saying no, you still need the help of people around you. You have to approach things as a team. You see, you have to be a team player. So, as you can see, from day one, Quran put it, كَلَّا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى أَنْ رَآهُ اسْتَغْنَى. So, the state of self-sufficiency is a state of transgression. You are going beyond the limits. You have to be autonomous. You should not be helpless, but should not at the same time be self-sufficient. It's like bravery, the opposite of cowardice. But also bravery has the tendency to go to the extreme and becomes recklessness. Is that right? Sometimes they give ticket for recklessness, driving recklessly. Is that right? Because who said that this guy is not brave? But that bravery was too much. Okay, it went beyond the limit. Is that right? So we saw at the same time how there is a tendency like to pile up and gather the things from the world and not sharing with others. Okay, إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ, we have given you in abundance. But also, there is also the threat of this becomes piling up only for you. أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ. Kawthar versus akathar. Two different, diametrically opposite systems. Okay, جمع ويل لكل همزة لمزة الذي جمع مالا وعدده. Just gathering, piling up, accumulating, okay, taking you away from the high values that you need to establish in this life. Okay, so these are some of the examples where was really the focus. How really we were able like to identify these important high values and virtues. And we are hoping to see how these values now, after Muhammad moved to Medina, and Medina is a completely, there is a different setup, social setup. It's not the same like Mecca. So it's a different dynamic. Okay? How now the revelation will interact with this new dynamic to produce really how these values were applied, how they were put into action. So, inshallah, in the following, discussions, our role together again to explore that dynamic through discussing, for example, Surah Al-Baqara, which was the first to be revealed in Medina. Okay, it will help us to understand through it the dynamics of that society at that time. And what was this interaction between the revelation and the dynamics, the realities of that society at the time, and the interplay between these two produced what exactly happened. And that will help us to see how Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was capable through these new messages, through the help of the revelation, to put these values now into action, into practice. Okay? So that is really, in general, how we are really going to, this is the framework within which we are really going to discuss Surah Al-Baqarah, and we recommended like this book by Ziauddin Sardar, who I think it's a good book to read. The title is Reading the Quran. Okay, it has really 3 sections. The first section is a general one talking about the interpretation of Quran and his own journey and experience with that. And the second part, which is really that you will find a good review, taking, for example, Surah Al-Baqarah as a model to how he approached that. This is why, I mean, that section will be very helpful, like to help you, again, it's just to assist, okay? I mean, we are not saying that this is our program, and you can read from whatever really you want, okay? The idea is really to engage the everybody in that discussion, okay? And because the Surah Al-Baqarah, as you know, in Quran is preceded by the first surah, which is Al-Fatiha. And it happened, if you look at the if you still have the schedule of the surahs, you find that Al-Fatiha was revealed after, at the end, of that list, was revealed after قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. So that will be a very good transition. Surah Al-Fatiha will be a good transition between what we have been discussing over the last few years and what we are going really like to discuss. Basically Surah Al-Baqara, which I'm sure it will take, not probably this year, but probably more year or years, or we'll see how things really will go. So since we are going today like to discuss Surah Al-Fatiha, Brother Naji suggested a very good suggestion. It's really like, instead of us talking about the surah, because this is really the surah that you cannot pray without it. Every unit of prayer, every rak'ah, you need to pray, to recite Al-Fatiha. So this is the most commonly recited Al-Fatiha. It has obviously become part of us, okay? And but the question that we like you all to answer, what did it mean to you? What does Al-Fatiha mean to you? What are really the meanings that really this surah confer on you? Okay, and this way, instead, that will be a very good opportunity to make the discussion, or the first discussion, really more interactive. So, and again, in view of what we have discussed, especially those of you who have been regular participants in that discussion, so please share with us, okay, some of your thoughts, and we'll take it from there. Who likes to start? Very good.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. What I think, and I'll say briefly because we want to give chance to everyone to talk.
You can take my time as well.
I can.
No, everybody has to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we want to share. This whole discussion is sharing it, with each other. And no question is a dumb question. No discussion is a dumb discussion. So we are learning from each other. To me, in brief, Surah Al-Fatiha means to me is that, how we talk in any discussions, we want to make sure that we are the audience and you are telling us something. In this Surah Al-Fatiha, it is between a human being and Allah. And Allah in this Surah Al-Fatiha is telling us who He is and who we are. He is giving us the sense of being a human being. When He says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, He is telling us He is the Rabbul Alameen. He is the Creator. All these universe and everything belongs to Him, and He has created. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but at the same time, He is the Rabb, but He is the most merciful and Rahim. I think that's also the attributes go to His. In His case, it can go to extreme, but in our case, just like you said, we cannot say that we are self-sufficient. He is the only one who is self-sufficient, and that Rahman and Rahim, that is the extreme attributes He has. So He is kind of like, if we talk to our kids, of course we are the parents, but we should show our mercy to them too, that we are parents, we have little power, we know more than you guys, but at the same time, if you make a mistake, I'm here to, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'll still take care of you. I am Rahman and Rahim. And He gave us the sense of that I am the only one. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. We can only ask Him, nobody else in the world. We can pray, to Him. We can. We are the abd. He is the ma'bud. He's the only ma'bud. We are the abd. And if we need any help, we ask Him. So this is the kind of, the Surah Fatiha is really putting things in perspective, who we are, who He is. And we are not alone. That's what I'm thinking, in this surah.
Why don't we go to this aisle?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. To me, this surah feels like you said, almost like a prayer that we would give our children. That, I have now a son who will be going to college next year, and so I'm trying to sort of psych myself up for that, and I keep telling him, you have to do all the right things, but if something goes wrong, we will be there, but we don't want to give him too much, freedom, so, you have to stay within bounds, and so I always think of it that way. And also, another thing I learned from this is that we have to be merciful to our children. Whenever they make a mistake, and I can be very judgmental and say, that was wrong, and not look at their point of view. And this tells me that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Ar-Rahman, and that is like an attribute that's only given to Him. No one else has that attribute, because He can be merciful when you've made a mistake, but He will be merciful even while you're kind of going in your journey in life. So He's like the ever merciful, which I don't think a human being has that attribute. But we can never reach that attribute, obviously, of being the Rahman, but at least be the Rahim, the benevolent, and try to kind of stay, So this is, I think, a beautiful prayer for us to be, to say in our prayers for our children and our family, and being a mother, that's how I think about it.
And I'll also add a little bit that this is not only for the children, but for the whole human being, the insaniyat, we call it. We have to be that way to each other. It's not just going up and down. We have to put this in our lives, practically, what we are talking about, and think about it.
But the way I see this surah in front of starting the Quran, it's like a preparation. It's preparing you going for a mission. Like everything you do, in order to become a doctor or an engineer or doing any project, there is a preparation period you have it, right? You have to have your right mindset, right skills, knowledge, and approach. I thought that's the surah is giving you that direction. You're looking for a truth. Here is the pre-qualification. You need to be prepared in order to be achieving to that kind of higher goal. So I thought this is the, of course it's a dua, you need a prayer before you do, you need Allah's support, as well as you need to take certain steps in order to meet those qualifications in order to achieve those goals. So I thought this is setting the mindset for the people who's looking for whether it's a kids or older, any kind of persons. That's a preparation period.
No, go ahead. Say something. You read this every day in the namaz, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about this?
Just share with us your experience, your feeling. When you read
Say
it.
in Urdu, tell me in Urdu. Acha. Okay. You're thinking. Okay.
Come on.
No, come on. Tell us something. You've read the surah, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about it?
What is missing? Sometimes you may say, tell us what is missing.
Basically what you and saying, because like it is like how like parents are with kids, like it's like He is like the most powerful, but He's also the most merciful, and it just
So you like that parents to be.
You like to know
You
more?
want your parents to be more merciful, be more forgiving, and right?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
What is your name? Omar. Omar, do you like to know more about this surah? I mean, did you feel like before that I read this surah every day so many times, but do you feel that there is something missing that was not given to you? I mean, how old are you?
I'm 17.
17.
Yeah,
I'm sure you
I'm
have
17.
been to Sunday or Saturday or weekend school or at home or something like that. This is what we want to know from our younger generation. What is really missing? I mean, if there is nothing missing, that's fine. But if you let us know about it, honestly.
And we appreciate you coming.
Yes.
That's very nice.
This is great. I mean, we
Younger
have
children.
been struggling
I know, my son is still sleeping, I think.
to have really people representing really our future. I mean, because we look at you, we, in a way, see really our future.
Absolutely.
And we like to see this continuity between the generations, not to see the gaps. Okay, so please, if there is something missing, something that you like to see, if there are concerns, let us know. Okay, tell us you have not done your job. Honestly, I mean, this is what we really need to know. Please, not necessarily in this moment, but please, I mean,
Think about it and come to our other sessions.
Yeah.
It's a brainstorming.
Yes,
So we are
exactly.
Like you
We
say,
need
there's
each
no
other,
right
all of
comment or wrong comment, and it's free. You know, it's not like having strict rules or anything. Do you have any comments?
Well, God gives us a lot
Can you
of
please
freedom.
raise your voice so that
God
everybody
gives
can?
us like a lot of freedom, and like basically we're here to follow Him. But people who aren't followers, they don't have any rules. With parents, it's different. With parents, they do make the rules. They don't. Sometimes they give you more freedom. Sometimes they give you less freedom. So when you have less freedom, your knowledge is very little. But when you have a little more freedom, then you can go explore and gain more knowledge and really like interact with other people and see how they are. But if you're stuck at home and just don't really go out, then how are you going to know how people react to certain situations? And it's just interacting of, different religions, different cultures, and really gaining more knowledge so that you can compare and contrast and really have a good discussion or really good communication. So if you don't have communication, then you're socially awkward and you don't know what's going on in the world.
Very good.
Is there something in Surah Al-Fatiha that gave you that, strengthened that
Well, because like
idea?
you guys were talking about like how like we're the followers of God and children are like followers of their parents. Well, it's similar but different because God really just gives you all the freedom that you want. I mean, like there are people who don't believe in God, so they don't have any rules. They don't want to learn about different religions. They don't want to interact, and they're like a social outcast. But people with religions, they have certain rules, they have certain boundaries. Then they really want to go out and share their different religions with other people and really like get out there and get their word out there. But people who just want to stay home, play video games, or just want to stay home and not do anything, then they can't really go out and like know anything about. And if people like us, if we don't go out there and we don't tell those people who don't do anything, how are they going to know? How are they going to find their way to peace?
And the reason I asked the question really because you are really giving us more insight into the idea, into what Quran and Surah Al-Fatiha. When Allah Subhanahu says, Alhamdulillah Rabb al-Alameen. He is the Lord of all the worlds. The ones that we know and the ones that we still are exploring and the ones that probably we don't know. But you see that this type of freedom that you are, I think you are talking about, that you need to explore the world. You need the world in order to know more about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabb. Okay, and we have seen that attribute, okay, through all the so many surahs that we have discussed that were revealed before Surah Al-Fatiha, as if it's prepared and paved the way for people really to see. You remember from the early فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. From the beginning, from the early Quran is giving these glimpses. Okay, who is the one? اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Is that right? We have seen that really this attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a lot to do with teaching and educating and raising. Because even when at home we say Rabba, this mother or father raised these children. So we have to realize that attribute in us. Okay, how we are going to educate ourselves, how we want to educate others, how we want to raise our own children or the children around us. Okay, so this is in one way giving that freedom, and at the same time giving us that responsibility also. Okay, in order, the more we know about the world, the more we know about the creator of these worlds. Is that right? Otherwise, why the emphasis, okay, in all these surahs, okay, and ayat that we talk about where the attributes of Allah have been introduced basically to us. Thank you. Please, Dr. Anam.
I'm not a regular.
No, that's okay.
That was just starting.
Today is our first day, so anybody here can talk.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem. What each time you read Surah Al-Fatiha, you come up with a different view. Basically, when we go back to the time when it was revealed, and at the time, it's just like a introduction or preamble of what's coming next, and that is also on the basis that it's continuously dialogue is taking place. So initially we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We cannot make any dialogue unless we introduce the person whom we are talking to, who we are making conversation. Then we have to go back to the attributes of His, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. And then initially I thought we did not know all that thing. He has informed us what He has done, what He is, the Rabbul Alamin. So then you say, then we have to accept our humanness and say, sure, we are, you are the Rabbul Alamin, and we are making affirmation that we make worship to you. You are the only one who is source of worship, and please, I am the human being. I can go distressed. I can go astray. So please don't make us in those people who are the people who are not following the right path. Give me the direction of that. So in a way, it's continuously when we are praying every day, we are a human being. We tend to transgress. We tend to fall in our weaknesses and so forth. So we are developing that relationship with Him, with that introduction, that please guide us. And then the other revelation will come, and then we will follow further. In that, then He will give us the knowledge that who was the one who was astray. Then He gave us the knowledge they were, and so we have to avoid that path. And then He said, those people who are following the right path, He'll give that. So we have a clear-cut path in that way. So Alhamdulillah, that's the path. What the way I see it each time is like an introduction where we are going to journey. We are going to open up a new book, where we're going to have a new guide. So follow that. So with little limitation.
Please, from the leg. Yes, please go ahead.
Elham, I'm thinking, before I never really think about how important the Elham, but I'm thinking even when my childhood, my parents, every time when we need to read something from Quran, they always tell me, read the Elham, read the Elham. Whatever happens, something is read the Elham. And now I am thinking, even in the first sentences, the Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin is very strong. It's, every time when I read this, it's giving me some like strength, it's like that, and it's really, you're exploring something. First things, okay, now is Rabbil Alamin is gonna talk, just, go and explore. It's like now I can do something like that.
Beautiful. Yes. You want to? Yeah.
When I read the Al-Ham, the Surah, when I first just like when you read the whole thing, it's giving me like a direction. Where are you, who you are, what you need to do, what's supposed to be done. When I first started there's something that if ever you read it, first time you read it, he's telling you that you have the whole world, the entire, someone controlling you. Then it says that Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen is a thank you for all the worlds, entire world. Great, you thank him. Then he is telling to himself that he's the only we say the thank to him, always we pray. The second one is that he's also a Rahman or Rahim. That he's telling you that he is the most merciful, he can do anything you want. But this is the way also when you get the judgment day, it means he's telling you that you're not the you're fully responsible, but you're not fully free. Certain you need to do. He's telling me that. When the judgment day, he's telling me that. Then also, second time, that he's just accepting that he is the only the control, that you only to obey him. Then you're gonna follow him. And he's asking him, they say, even I don't do that, you show me the way, the right way. And he's telling me that you're asking him, and he said that please show me the right way. And you live on earth and you see that people doing bad and good, don't send me to the bad people's way, to show me the right way. That's why I understand. The food, actually you're just giving yourself to him.
Very good. Sisters and
Do you guys want to say something? We are discussing Surah Al-Fatiha.
even those who spoke, if they have other things to add, that's okay. Brothers, yes, please.
When I read Fatiha, Surah Al-Fatiha, I like to, a keynote is that the Almighty Allah is the master of the Day of Judgment. The introduction of judgment, the Day of Judgment, is very important in my view, because God is pointing at that particular event that is going to happen. And then before we talk about putting us on the right path, avoiding the path of those who has wrath or go astray, a path is like a way to something. So basically the right path is the path that will take you to the Day of Judgment, to be on the favor of Allah. So basically, I think the emphasis about the Day of Judgment, that as Muslims we should always keep our eye on that end day. That is much more important than anything else. Whatsoever we're doing, the path that we seek is the path that will bring us prosperity within the Day of Judgment. So the introduction of the Day of Judgment and the prayer to keep us on a path that is good and to avoid the path that is wrong or going astray, that can all lead to the Day of Judgment. We should always keep our eyes on that, because it's easy to forget that indeed it is an ultimate goal by the end that we are seeking.
Can I say one?
Yeah, please.
It's just an interesting observation. Alhamdulillah. If you split that word, Alif, Lam, He is Allah, and then Hamd. So even the first word starts with Allah, meaning he's talking about himself. And he said a very interesting thing, the Day of Judgment. I would add to that, not only we should keep an eye on the latter Day of Judgment, today is the Day of Judgment, this time right now is the Day of Judgment, how we deal with others. That's the most important thing in my mind. Can we be merciful to other person? Can we be humble? Can we forgive somebody's mistake? Those things I think we have to think about. Judgment, where I would take the judgment. Right now, I should judge myself. And very interesting, I was listening to one lecture, and that scholar said one time that we should always keep, if we do anything, we should keep Allah in the middle. I'm going through Allah. And there is less possibility of making a mistake. Anything, dealing with the employee, dealing with the boss, dealing with the sister, brother, kids, anything we do, we should keep Allah in the middle that, is this job should be done this way or that way? And everything would possibly go right.
Brother Shakil will not skip you.
So I think I kind of missed the last section last year again. So reading through, going through some of the section when I was posting out, and then you kind of introduced this year's session. So I kind of learned something about Surah Al-Fatiha, and then I think we've been talking about it all along. Whenever we discuss the whole year, since like 2 years, we've been talking about how Surah Al-Fatiha, how important that is. But I think, before, when I was growing up, that was just something I just recited in the namaz, right, in my prayers. That's all. It didn't mean anything to me. And then I'm feeling all these people, all the youngsters, they're getting this knowledge so early in their life, and I'm thinking, I wish I had that information so long time ago that I would have explored the Quran much better. And that's the only thing I think I kind of missed out, and I'm thinking still I need to do a lot of catch up, but I wish I had that foundation to understand, to start with the first ayah, just to understand that, okay, how powerful or how important that is for the entire Quran.
It's never true.
Yeah, that's my expression.
This person, Ziauddin Sardar, he says because I read that over the summer, that he does not speak Arabic. And he came up with all this, interpretation based on reading the other translations, etc., and then making his own sort of, making his own sort of summary of it. And I think that's really encouraging for us who don't speak the language, and it makes us feel like we can do this too. It's not out of your range. While you're waiting to learn the language, we can interpret it while we're reading the translation. So. To me, that was
very good,
useful.
very good. I mean, although knowing the language is a very important tool.
Yeah.
I mean, we cannot underestimate it. And this applies not only to understand Quran. If you want to understand Hegel, probably if you know German, it's better than reading his work in translation. I mean, no question, or Goethe or anybody that you don't know their native language. And we have said it so many times, and this is a very good example. And I was really impressed by that for that individual, he did not let the language to be a barrier. So he worked probably harder than anybody else in order really to reach that level of understanding, and I will continue to say, that again, do not underestimate, the value of understanding the language of Quran. And not only that, I think I would love to see somebody from our younger generation going deeper into language in general, to learn about really because there are so many things that have been achieved in the area of language, linguistics, the philosophy of language, and knowing more than one language will give you more insight into your own language. That you think you know it, but you know more about it as you learn about other languages. Same way, when you learn about other cultures, you understand better your own. Okay, so please learn. And honestly, if today we make just a simple exercise and ask the people around the table how many languages they know, collectively we know so many languages. Let us make this exercise. I know Arabic and English. Naji, how many languages you know?
I know English, Arabic, French.
French. How many you know? Everything.
Urdu, English, little bit of Spanish, and little bit of French. I've lived in a
Sister, how many languages you know?
Urdu, English,
Sister, how many you know?
3.
3. Which are?
Urdu, English and Tamil.
You see that we add, and again, look at the unique languages. Don't look at the individual, unique individual. The unique languages that we know collectively. Sister, how many you know?
Turkish, English, I can read the
Add Turkish. And?
I can read the Arabic, but I cannot understand.
That's fine. Yeah. Sister.
Spanish, English, Turkish.
Turkish. MashaAllah. Sister.
Spanish, English, and Turkish.
MashaAllah. Brother Shakir.
English and Urdu.
English, Urdu, and I can read Arabic.
Very good. Brother.
English, Bengali, and Urdu I can understand, and Arabic and read and understand.
Very good. Brother.
English, Mandingo, it's African language.
What is that?
Mandingo,
What part of Maldives?
West Africa.
West Africa. Okay. Very good.
Professor.
So we have additional. Yes.
English, Urdu, Hindi, little bit of Persian and Arabic.
MashaAllah. Very good.
Turkish and English.
Turkish, English.
I think I know, but
What's that?
Let's share it with us.
Urdu, English, and a little bit of Punjabi. I know a little bit of Arabic. I was taught Persian in my early stage, and I know a little bit of Spanish.
No, English,
How much?
Urdu, and Spanish.
Spanish.
English and Urdu. I think we have winner among these two.
What?
We have a winner among these two. They know more than anybody else. Please.
English, Urdu, Pashto, Punjabi, Arabic, Spanish.
Arabic and Urdu and Roman English. Like Roman.
What is it?
Roman English.
Roman English.
Roman English.
Latin.
Latin. Sisters over there.
What are the languages?
What languages you speak?
Urdu?
Urdu, English.
Yeah.
Bengali, English, I can speak Urdu and Hindi too. And,
So at least in this room,
Spanish too.
I did not count, but probably around 10 languages, unique languages, we collectively know. And I will encourage all of you, like, if you see something in your own language that may shed some light onto what we are really discussing, please share that with us, because you never know how much we can learn. And by the way, Quran, there are so many words that have been, they were not originally Arabic. There are several words. You see something that has its origin in Roman, its origin like Persian, its origin is in Abyssinia, or and different, the tribes speaking different really dialects. Okay, Quran brought them all together. Okay, in order to become for al-alamin, for everybody, so catered for everybody. So did not really, confine us to but made it really an ayah. It's one of his signs, اختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم. This diversity in our colors and our languages, it's one of his signs that we have to recognize. Which means what? That we have to make use of them. Not to make it a reason to divide us, but a good reason, like, to enrich all our, individual and collective experiences.
You missed Professor Najib.
No.
Yeah,
brother.
Share us with your reflections about Al-Fatiha, what you understand from it, what you learned from it.
Me?
Yes.
I think I understand. I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert,
No. Just share us
your own feelings, your own experience.
when you pray with Al-Fatiha, what you have in mind, how you understand it.
Praise to Allah, and of course, which leads to submission to Allah. So that's the basic, creator and Alini. There are so many universes, so many galaxies. So it's not just one. So there are so many things in it that are very helpful. But one thing I would like to add here is that linguistically speaking, Quranic Arabic is classical Arabic. Okay, it's not modern in the sense of the time. Okay, and culture, because I've lived in the Middle East also. And there are so many dialects, like you said, of Arabic. So the important point that I can raise, and maybe you can elaborate later on as the session progresses, that language helps to shape the culture, and also culture helps to shape the language. And that's one of the reasons why there are so many dialects of any language. There are any big language, there are so many dialects for that very reason. And as people move, like you said that Quran has many words from other languages, that means diffusion was taking place even at that time.
Yes.
Diffusion of ideas was taking place even at that time. Yeah. Because language travels. But it changes. My professor used to say in anthropology, language changes every 20 miles.
Wow.
So, which means that you will find different words. Yes. When you travel 20 miles, you will find some new words there that you did not hear in your original place, and so on and so forth. So, in order to understand Quran, I feel we have to understand how does language shape the culture, and how does culture help shape the language.
Yes, go ahead. Three of the brothers. Just when you read the question is, share with us your thought about Al-Fatiha that you use daily in your prayer.
You put me on the spot, I was not even ready.
you pray, right?
I do.
Good. So share us your thought, please.
I think we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so it guide us. Most important here is, I think, we are submitting ourselves to Allah. One thing. Second thing is asking Allah to guide us. And when also on the top of that, when guiding, you're asking, guide us the way He guided the people before us who He has showered His mercy. And they were on the straight path. So first you submitting yourself and asking for guiding, then also you want to be hereafter, after our, so that we want to be sufficient in hereafter. So.
Good. Yes, please.
I'm not as knowledgeable to share the understanding of Surah Al-Fatiha, but I'd like to add, in addition to the statement what he said about the language, that the language of Arabic that we know in the world, but there is special recognition of the fact that the language of Arabic in Quran Kareem came from Allah through Wahi to Rasulullah, and that's why it was revealed to us. So there is one importance of the language of Arabic that we read in the Quran. It is very special that it came from Allah.
That's one of them. Yes. Yeah, you cannot escape.
Well, one is, I like to stand for the prayer and proceeding like Bismillahir and Salah. Alhamdulillah, Ameen. First thing he mentioned that the submission to God. And for me, I feel like every time I go to prayer, I stand for prayer, and I realize that we are asking Allah to help us out to go on the straight path. And even though we ask Him every day, over and over and over and over, to me it seems like we are, it's never ending on that. We ask Allah to help us out. And maybe we are not, even though we are asking every time Allah help us out, and still we are going maybe the wrong way or something, so that He can help us out. And And that's the main, to me, was the main reason for, you know, the first thing, you know, every prayer, the first thing over, Alhamdulillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Just, I understand Arabic, yes, as language. But again, I believe that Al-Quran, as also Jacques Barig noticed, that there is the Arabic language and there is the Quranic Arabic. So really Al-Quran is created its own language by creating concepts, names, give them new meaning, put them together, convey to us the vision, our mission in this world. So this is why we need to bear in mind all of this when we approach Al-Quran. It's not just Arabic. It's way beyond that. It's not Quraysh Arabic. It's really there's the Arabic of Al-Quran. So it means even if I know Arabic, unless I do my work, I work very hard, I try to understand, is not going to happen. I'm not going to see the message. The other question was very interesting. Brother Walid, when he gave us the list to understand the early message Al-Quran was talking about, on the Quran of the Mecca era, and what he brought to us as vision, we found that Al-Fatiha is at the end of the list. And this really amazed me. Why? Because look at our kids or the way we learned as-salat, we know Al-Fatiha is the core of as-salat, right? There's rak'ah, is the main reading. Rak'ah, there is no rak'ah you can escape Al-Fatiha, but in some salat, if it is 3 or 4, the third or the fourth rak'ah, you don't read more than Al-Fatiha. Even if you read more, you need to correct it. You need to make sujood. Just to have that idea that is the core of as-salat. But this is why Al-Fatiha was not revealed day one.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to ask this question. I can see there's different approach. So the rush was not to pray. The rush is to understand your mission in this world. To have a vision first. And the prayer will be just a mean to help us to achieve that mission. So without understanding, without knowing the mission, without having the vision, Al-Fatiha is not going to be understood. You are not going to understand even Al-Fatiha. And this is very interesting. So how many surah, what's interesting also when Al-Makki surah conveyed to us why we are here, what's our mission on this world, how we understand the surrounding, how we understand ourselves. Al-Quran at the beginning used a lot of images. And layl, الشمس وضحاها والليل, from day one, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق الإنسان من علق. And we saw together that Al-Quran used a lot of images to help us to understand why we are here, how we can accomplish our mission in this world. Al-Fatiha really it's very advanced level of abstraction too, because it uses the language and uses the names. Alhamdulillah, Rabb al-Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawm al-Din. So this is very advanced level. So here is really using the language, the new concepts that connect, that can, through them we can see the vision itself. We can understand Islam. And also from the ayah 1, there is some people count it as ayah, other not, but when we say Bism Allah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, just to decipher it, we talked how really we just use the different names and see how they are connected together so we can understand the meaning, or we can approach the meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is conveying to us. So the idea of Bism Allah, so it's not in Allah, but in the name of Allah. And the name is very interesting. So even how to know Allah, or how to accomplish our mission in this world, or how to understand our mission also, they are all connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala beautiful names. This is how we do things. So Bism Allah, that it becomes in our daily life. Anything we do, that we say Bism Allah. Bismillah when you eat. Bismillah when you start driving. Bismillah when you read Al-Quran. But here is very interesting. So it means how always you are aware about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala beautiful names that you try to achieve or to make them happen through your actions. So your action or directions, they are not without reference. They are all connected to Allah through His beautiful names. Allah is the most knowledgeable, the most merciful, the most wise, and you know the beautiful names. So this is really how we understand also why we are here and how we accomplish our mission at the same time. So Allah also is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. This is big challenge because we have an anthropologue here. So, you know, people, they can see themselves together, for example, through family. But maybe it's through tribe, through nation. But how you can talk to the whole world and you convince them they are also united, they are also together, unless you create higher warmth, if you like, you know, where they can see themselves connected. So it is Ar-Rahim, that is also warm, is very well connected to Ar-Rahman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes also what connect all of us with all our diversity. So if we look around us, there's no two things identical to each other. And anything, even the tables that we think they are identical, if you look a little bit closer, we will see differences. So diversity is good, but diversity also needs how to keep the diversity united, how doesn't destroy unity. So Allah, through His beautiful name, it's what will keep us together at not just the humankind, but also the universe, our relationship with the universe, anything that's surrounding us, with each other, the nation with each other, tribes, etc. So Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim is very interesting here too. So Bism Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. But the attributes that are used here is also that has the idea of mercy. There is no way to put things together or to keep them together without acquiring the skills of mercy. And our sisters, they have much better, maybe advanced experience than us because they carry it in their home, you know, their kids. There is no way to keep them together without mercy. There is no way to stay together without a lot of patience, you know, and a lot of love. You cannot do it. It's the same thing, though. It's really why that when we say Al-Hamd, and I read today in Al-Tabari that Al-Hamd also is Thana ala Allah bi asma'ihi wa sifatihi al-husna. Even the way you praise Allah, you need to praise Him through His beautiful name. How you praise Allah? If Allah is the most knowledgeable, be knowledgeable. If Allah is the most wise, be wise. Is Allah the most merciful, be merciful. If Allah is the most forgiveness, be forgiven. So this is also how you praise Allah. It's not just mere intellectual thinking. You have the reference now. You have that beautiful names, and they should guide us and measure our action if they are on the right path or not. And this is very interesting. So this is why Al-Quran kept the name of Allah. Because Allah is the common name in that region of the world. It's not an Arabic name, it's well known before Al-Quran came. But it's connected Allah to these names. And put them together also with the idea of Rabb. And when we talk, Al-Quran at the beginning talk about a lot about Rabb. And the Rabb, it has Rabba, you has elevate, you educate, but also you keep together. You keep everything connected. And Rabb al-Alameen, this is also beautiful too, because when I reflect about it, I'm as a person, I have different layers. I'm moving. How I can keep myself, connected to all my states. How I can move, I can know where I am, where I was, what I'm doing, how to achieve better state, etc. So the idea of Al-Alameen, and yes, there is universe, but there's something maybe we don't know too. Because every one of us has the idea of Alameen. It's not just one world. You are really different worlds, and we are surrounded by different levels too. So, you can imagine how much really we need of attributes to keep all this diversity together, united. Is not really very easy task to achieve. If our mission really to educate the whole world, not just humanity, is take the whole universe to higher level, you can imagine how much really we need and how much we need not only each other, the knowledge, how much we need to acquire this from these beautiful names and make them available to us to achieve their mission. And also Al-Hamd is very beautiful too, because وَآخِرُ دَعْوَاهُمْ أَنِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ is the last thing, or they will say even in paradise. But even if I take the prophethood as project, the last prophet is the one who concretizes, Al-Hamd. Even in his name, his Muhammad. Al-Hamd is very high level of achievement, where you can see all Allah's beautiful names connected together and present. They are there. Imagine society that is able to achieve that level of perfection. Or at the individual level also, how you can achieve that level of perfection to have all these beautiful names connected together and balanced. And you can see the name is Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. So is Rabb Al-Alameen, as we discussed with Brother Walid, as you have a sandwich. You have Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Look the attributes. The most merciful, blessings here, Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Rabb Al-Alameen, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. There is no way to achieve Rabb Al-Alameen without having Ar-Rahman, on the top and the bottom. Is sandwiched between these attributes. Malik Yawm al-Din. So it's the most difficult things to introduce the idea of you are responsible for what you are doing. You will be accountable for what you are doing. It's very hard to achieve that. And the Quran, Islam was very able to convey the message to very any person, if you like. I will say this is very, very successful. It was very successful that people understand that they are here and responsible for all what they do and they accomplish in their life. And we saw together also how Quran introduced the argument that death does not destroy life. If there is no death, there is no life. So this is why even ourselves, Brother Wali explained to me that there is death and life even within us. This is how we continue living. There is no death. We may die, I don't know, maybe a few weeks or a few months. It's not possible. So this is why in Quran we talk about, so if there is a death for the whole world, if you like, because there is higher life. And this is very, very deep and very powerful argument. So also we approach this life and there's an end to it, but it's not the end. It will not be the end that opens the door for higher life. And the higher life also is related to the beautiful neighbor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we know the higher life, it will be there, will be al-haq. So what will be judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is according to the beautiful names too. According to al-haq, truth, to justice, al-adl, but also according to al-rahmah, blessings, mercy. So al-akhirah is not to disconnect this life from what we were trying to build. So it means all our work to realize Allah's beautiful name in our, our life, our family life, our community, in the whole humanity, for the whole universe, is also what we will see there in the hereafter. And this is how our success or failure will be measured. So you can see, and it's very interesting even when it comes to prayer, when you come ihdina, it's there after having all these names. When you ask ihdina sirata, you don't ask it for yourself. You are doing the prayer just by yourself, but you say ihdina. You are thinking of others. It's very interesting that you are aware of others. They are there to help to make success possible. It means that there's awareness, we need each other to make our mission possible. But our mission is not that fake belief that any one of us or any community or any nation or any tribe owns the truth. It's a path, it's sirat, that needs all of us to have the ability to know which one is the straight one and be able to distinguish the right path from wrong path too. Because there is sirat maghdub alayhim and there is sirat dhalleen. You can miss, if you like, the path, but how we need each other. And when we say also sirat, we should not put end to our life till the last moment. And this is what we learned from the prophethood. Because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he told, "Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamatiya lillahi rabb al-alamin." Even mamatiya, because death, when we understand death, we can define it, is the total loss of control. You are no longer here. But the Prophet would say, no. Even my death is under my control and should have the direction toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Should be lillahi rabb al-alamin. And this is how you understand who you are as human being, or how much we have as, if you like, ability to even make our death having the right direction toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Is there a difference in Arabic language between the word prayer and worship? If I am doing salah, am I doing worship or am I doing prayer? If I am doing, if I am fasting, am I doing prayer or am I worship? When I am giving zakat, am I doing prayer or is it worship, an act of worship? In Arabic language, that's the question I am raising. You can help me out. Is there a distinction between prayer and worship?
Yes.
I think zikr.
take it.
It's a very good question, and I remember from my own experience when I came across this verse at the end of Surah Al-Hajj. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اركعوا واسجدوا واعبدوا ربكم. Ruku' and sujood, part of the prayer. Is that right? But then the ayah is saying wa'budu, worship. That was really one of the situations that brought before me a wider understanding of worship. Prayer in the form of ruku' and sujood becomes one form of ibadah. But then it was an eye-opener as a young person like 14, 15 to see that, ibadah is more than just prayer, it's more than fasting. How you can achieve ibadah in every action you are doing. And in fact it destroyed at a very early stage in my life, this dichotomy that I am doing this action for this life and then I do something else which should be for al-akhirah. Now I am doing this that is religious and now I am doing this for this dunya. It destroyed that dichotomy from that time. That ibadah is really and then I start asking myself how long it takes from me to pray the 5 prayers from the 24 hours. Half an hour? An hour? What is the rest? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking me to be Iyaka na'budu all the time. Is that right? So how, as Brother Najim was saying, how I can make all my life for Allah, how I can make my own death for Allah. No question, the idea of that, it took me like until I met Brother Najim to see what is the value, how I can make my own sleep. When you are not here, when you sleep, you are not there. Unless somebody comes and wake you up, is that right? But again, why we are taking 8 hours out of my life for nothing? How I can make it better? Then came the idea of what happens during sleep. You dream. So your dream becomes really a measure. Your dream, what type of dream you see, becomes really a reflection of you. And many times it becomes like something to warn you. I saw something, I don't know the exact explanation of it, but it's telling me, Walid, be aware. You see what I mean? Now sleep itself, you are trying also to improve your state while you are also sleeping. Please.
To answer your question, I see worship as a big picture, and then praying is a little branch. It's like when you pray, that's worshiping. When you fast, that's worshiping. When you clean yourself, that's worshiping. Worship is all a big picture, but there's little branches of it. There's little things you can do to show that you're worshiping. Do you understand that? There's just little branches of that big picture.
Yes.
For me, it makes sense like that too. And say and especially we afraid of the use to worship, because the worship is made by other religion, mostly using worship, not prayer or like I say the God or Allah. But when I say talk to other friends, sometimes I say God, but when I say the God, I mean to Allah. It's just but telling them to sometimes using the God word or worshiping word, and all this I guess for me too, namaz, rekat, Ramadan, all is pray for worship to Allah. Is okay? Is working like that? Can we use these words or?
Yeah, but zakat is an act of worship. It's not an act of prayer.
Yes. Yes.
So giving charity is an act of worship, but it is not an act of prayer.
But again, what I was trying to say, that how we can make that concept, okay, encompassing all our life. You see, and if you take really we can take it further, okay, and use language here to help us, because worship means, or the term in Quran, abada. If we look at that verb itself, I mean, we use it sometimes like when we say we pave the street, عبد الطريق. Why would you pave the street? In order to make it easier for us to move. So we need to look at our ibadat, acts of worship, whether it is a prayer or fasting or zakat or hajj. We need to look at them, how they really facilitate our own life. And you have heard us saying this over and over, like how the salat becomes a model to help me live my life. How hajj becomes a model to live my life. To the point that one scholar put it very nicely. He said, if Quran is Islam in words, hajj is Islam in action. If you really analyze hajj, inshallah we'll have the chance in the future sessions to go in details about that, you really can see your own life. It's not just mere movements. The same way, okay, prayer itself, and many of you I gave like 5 or 6 khutbah, I mean, during this year, just about trying to analyze each component of the prayer to see how it helped me to live my life. Why then I have to pray, just do these movements, or how can it help me to really see what is my mission and my vision in my life?
I think the word Malik in Surah Al-Fatiha is a key word. Malik means owner, isn't it?
Owner,
controller,
master.
Malik Yawmuddin.
Yes.
The day of judgment.
And
so in other words, it needs us to submit to God.
But let me ask you this question, brother. If we are saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the master of the day of judgment, where every one of us will be accountable. Is that right? What attribute you like to see in that master? In that owner, who is really the judge in that day?
The first one.
Merciful! I like to be judged by somebody who is merciful. I don't want to be judged by somebody else. Is that right?
Yes.
It's amazing, the connection. Rabb al-Alameen, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmuddin. Yes, I like to be judged by someone who is the most merciful. As simple as that. I don't really have to go really any further.
It's very interesting also to use the word the Quran is using. At that society, at least, when everything is related to your family, to your tribe, to your master, here it's a way to free the society itself from all of these prisons. Allah is the one who, the idea of abd, you are not the slave of anyone. You need to free yourself from slavery in order to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you say إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, this is really a mission that will create revolution. It will change the whole world. Imagine a slave who was born and it becomes part of his habit or her habit, and the culture itself that this is you need to obey your master. Now he's reading إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ. You cannot have both. This is how Bilal understood it.
Bilal, you remember Bilal? Ahad. I mean,
the idea of ahad is you cannot have both. It's a message of freedom, and this is why there is no way to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unless to me, is the level of knowing Allah reflect the level of freedom we or you achieve.
If somebody asks you, where is the verse in Quran that talks about that slavery is prohibited, you say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ. Don't forget to tell them that إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ is really, and so many like it. I mean, it's really the antidote to slavery.
When you say Alhamdulillah, Rabb al-Alameen, when Allah becoming Rabb al-Alameen, this is the equality. You cannot push the equality more than that. But it's not Rabb al-Alamin, it's إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. So the idea of ibadah also, as Brother Walid saying, is the way to pave our freedom while we are moving toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trying to approach Him. How we approach Allah? To free ourselves from any level we achieve.
So let us change that terminology.
How we start
I beg
praying.
you, I really beg you to change the terminology.
How we start our
Instead
prayer.
of saying submission, let us call it liberty. Because there is nothing, okay, in Quran that is really, you can translate it into submission. Take it from someone, at least who speaks the Arabic language. Because Islam cannot be translated into submission. It is istislam that it is really translated into submission. And there is nothing in Quran about istislam. There is Islam, which means the degree of your liberation. Because at one time, you are really wishing to be making witness with Allah. شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولو العلم قائما بالقسط. Where is the submission here? It is you are invited. You are invited in your salat. How you end it? التشهد. أشهد أن لا السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. While you are making tashahhud, you are making witness to the oneness of Allah in the presence of the Prophet, in the presence of the angels, and you are there, present. You are not absent. Is this submission or presence?
So, yeah.
With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I also need to change the translation of Al-Fatiha. Because we translate it as the opener or the opening. In fact, it is the liberator. Al-Fatiha. إِنَّا فَتَحْنَا لَكَ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ. Fatih, liberation. So it is really liberating from everything. If my life can be defined as a journey towards Allah, and Allah is in the absolute, through His absolute beautiful names, and I'm trying to realize them, is there a way to stop? Is there a ceiling? Is there something to confine me? Or it's always liberating me to go higher and higher through that journey towards Allah? Alhamd itself, thana, praise. What do we say at the end of when we pray together Taraweeh? What do we say? Subhana Malik al-Quddus. Is that right? And what we say at the end, we say لا نثني ثناء لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. There is no way to complete and perfect the praise of Allah. So it is a continuous movement. This is shukr. This is why Imam Ali said, worship Allah out of liberation, out of a gratitude, shukr. And he called it, this is the worship of the free. فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ الْأَحْرَارِ. أحرار, حر, free, freedom. So Al-Fatiha really should be the liberator.
Maybe just to continue the question, because if we talk on ibadah, we see an ibadah as You know, that ability to continuously pave the road, you know, to get closer to Allah. It means there's no way unless you free yourself from any achievement, you know, and that they have the awareness that what you achieved is not you. It's something that belongs to you. You don't belong to your achievement. So free yourself from it, regardless how high it is. So when it comes to as-salat also, if we take very quick look at as-salat. Before as-salat we make wudu, right? So we wash all our senses, right? So and al-ma is what's make life possible. So we connected our senses to life. They are connected to life. There's call for the prayer. The call starts with what? We look for the highest summit, if you like, and from where we say Allahu Akbar. Is the metaphor. It means any level we reach, when we think of Allah, it will free us from that level, regardless how high it is.
From that summit.
It's Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar from this level. But also, before we start as-salah, there's awareness of space and time. We pray al-Dhuhr, it's not the same thing al-Asr, it's not the same thing al-Maghrib. We need to be aware space and time. But also we need to know the direction. We need to know the qibla, the goal. And as-salat also, it's a movement. The first rak'ah is not the second rak'ah, is not the third. It's a trip toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala till at the end the metaphor is you are talking to angels. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum. It's very beautiful. So as-salat itself also is the prophethood, is they encapsulate, they put together the whole project, the vision. Through as-salat we can see the mission, why we are here. And this is why we always need to ask the question. Because al-fiqh get us totally astray. Right now we don't think about the meanings. We just think about how much ajr you will have. If you do a little bit like this, you may miss this one. Look at al-wudu. Al-wudu is very well connected to clean, right? But look at our place when we make wudu. How we may create a mess from al-wudu. Why? Because al-wudu lost its purpose. Is no longer connected to be clean. Is connected to how much ajr. Is it till here or till here or till here? You know? Because we miss the point. So as-salat, as-siyam, al-hajj, you know, all this what we call pillar, they are really the basic from where if we reflect on them, we can see what is the purpose of what we are doing, how we can get the meaning. But they are what we call fara'id. You know what does mean fara'id? It's the minimum required. You cannot go lower than that. It's the start. It's the zero. So why do you need to stay all your life on that level? It's the minimum. It's al-farad. You know? So it means from there really you need to move. You achieve the purpose of this life or any action. This is how you acquire that habit. Acquire that, Brother Walid called the skill you need to learn from as-salat, from al-hajj, from as-siyam, from it's ash-shahada itself. How you can be witness, present in any action you do, so that action can always get the right direction to make you and your community and the society and the universe to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is so beautiful, this mission, you know, and you can talk to anyone, you can even communicate it to the universe. And you will see the answer, it will be different. If you communicate the message in any place, the outcome will be something that will help you to achieve better level.
I was thinking, actually I don't worship, I don't pray. If you guys telling us that If you freedom yourself, you liberate yourself, then everything you do with Allah, your lifestyle is it. I don't worship, I don't pray, I work, I lifestyle for freedom myself to Allah. Whatever you do toward Him, then you don't need to do anything.
No, this is the meaning of
that's what I'm saying.
this is
why
the
I'm
mission.
saying.
Is that
lifestyle?
Yes,
You're
yes,
aiming
yes.
the way one thing.
Let's take one of the names.
For God, how are you going to get up to heaven? If you're not going to do anything, how are you going to have that sort of level, or like, how are you going to succeed to, like, what are you doing to get to heaven? You have to believe, I understand that you have to believe, but, okay, so you pray 5 times a day, but like, I can pray 100 times a day and like know the meaning, but not go to heaven.
No.
I mean, it's like belief and faith, I understand that.
Liberate yourself, freedom yourself. You do everything what you do for Allah.
But look, brother, look at this.
I understand that, but what
Sister,
if you don't...
let's apply the method. Okay, we said Bismillah, right? Let's do it because it's not just thinking without reference. Who is Allah? One of His names is Al-Ghani. He's not in need. Totally not in need at all. So here we need to reflect upon what does mean I'm doing it for the sake of Allah.
Yeah.
We should not have that belief that because he's in need. This is catastrophe. Yeah. He's not in need. We are in need. His name is Al-Ghani. When we say Bismillah, Al-Ghani, I forget this understanding. Is wrong. So I'm doing it because I'm in need of that. This is how I free myself to get also closer to Him. So there is a lot of, if we take the beautiful names of Allah as our reference, we'll correct a lot of our thought. That's fine, we can think about anything, but after that, take the reference. This is how today we did a lot of advancement at the scientific level. Why? Because the humanity, they're aware right now of the universe as reference. I don't just close a room and do a mathematical model and think that this is the universe. No, I need to go outside and make all the possible experiments and see if this makes sense or not. The same thing when it comes at the level of meaning.
Yes.
You have the reference of meaning. Yes.
We have some guests.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Just to last comment is that if you really look at Al-Fatiha, the 7 verses, you can look at each verse as really a unit of meaning that can stand by itself. But this is like but really we need to see it also as a collective surah. The whole is more than the sum of the parts. Okay, so inshallah, and this will help us also to understand and approach inshallah the next surah, Surah Al-Baqara. Thank you very much.